So let's go to today's Tanya. I'll give you an example that Rabbi Gordon gave in the Tanya. Okay. So let me ask you a question. If you go to a restaurant, and you have a choice. Here's your choice. Okay. Either you get a waiter that will get exactly your order that you ordered. Everything you have, your order come in with 20 people, 30 people, and they have a major order. The waiter gets the order exactly right. Everything, like to the detail. Everything perfectly what they ordered. But the waiter has a really bad attitude. No, sir, right? So you're getting like horrible experience with the attitude of the waiter. Or you have the nicest waiter, the friendliest guy, cracks jokes like a comedian. Like you walk into the restaurant and you're having the time of your life, but he gets your order completely messed up. Nobody got what he ordered. Everyone got different food or whatever, or so on. What would you rather? Would you rather go to the restaurant and get the food you ordered with a bad waiter, or get all the wrong food, not what you ordered, not what you wanted, but have a really funny experience of a waiter? What would you rather? What would you pick?
The good food.
Yes. Why? Because the reason you're going to the restaurant is because you want to eat something, right? You're
exactly,
coming there for
exactly.
Very good. So
why can't you have both?
There we go. So, because I wanted to bring out what's the main point of the restaurant. The main point of the restaurant is the food. Now, if you go to a restaurant and you have the best experience with the waiter, it gives you like the best experience, and you're so funny, you have the time of your life. So, but the first thing is the food. You'll agree that the most important thing is the food, and the great experience that the waiter is giving you is amazing. So that's the analogy here. When we do mitzvahs, Hashem wants us to make this world a place for Hashem. The main thing is you got to do the mitzvah. But you can have a terrible attitude about it, right? You could go through life and make Hashem. You could be like the waiter who stinking attitude. You're Jewish. You do everything you need to do, but you have a terrible attitude. That's the kind of house you're making for Hashem. It's like going to the restaurant with a waiter with a really bad attitude. But if you could also be passionate and want to have a relationship with Hashem and have kavanah, the intention, the meditation, the passion with it, then the house you make for Hashem is giving Hashem the experience. You're giving the world the experience. The light of Hashem is brought in a different kind of a way. So you need to do the mitzvah. It's a beautiful analogy, I think, this is Rabbi Taub's analogy, a beautiful analogy for understanding this whole idea of the mitzvah and the intent behind the mitzvah. So you go to shul, you can have a stinking attitude. That's what your davening looks like. Or you can be passionate about it, and then you like going to the restaurant with an amazing experience. Make sense? You with me? Okay. Yes, good. Get it? So that's why I brought you first the restaurant analogy, and then we could talk about that. Then we could talk about it over here. So where are we going now? Okay, my friends, where are we going now in today's Tanya? We're going to talk some Kabbalah today. We'll talk some levels, and then we'll explain how it connects. So, we said yesterday that there are 4 worlds: Atzilos, Bria, Yetzira, and Asiya. And your mitzvahs can be your very physical mitzvahs, like the waiter who brings the food with a really bad attitude, is like it's the lowest level. It's the inanimate. Remember, we split the world into inanimate, vegetation, and then we said animal and human. So we said that a mitzvah in the restaurant with just bad attitude, that's like a very physical mitzvah. It's like you're just doing the act of the mitzvah. It's nothing. It's just you did the mitzvah, fine. And you made the world a place for Hashem, but that's all you did. You just did, like, your mitzvah wasn't level. You changed the world, but just in the level in inanimate. When you speak Torah, you start getting a little bit more involved in speaking in Torah and so on. Hearing Torah, speaking Torah, davening, saying words with your lips. It's not just inanimate anymore. You're already bringing Hashem into a little bit of a higher level, into the level of vegetation. You're kind of growing. Then when you start having a kavanah, some passion and meditation, you could reach a level of animal. But as we explained yesterday, it could be instinctive passion. So it's not anything you developed on your own. You're like an animal. And then you could have a human being, which is intellectual. You sat and you meditated. You became an intellectual stimulus of love and fear of Hashem. And boom, now you're reaching the highest level, the highest of the four worlds. So you can climb your way up depending on your mitzvah, depending on your restaurant experience. Just like you could have a really bad restaurant experience, or you can have an amazing one, and there's different levels of it. You know, the waiter cannot talk to you, then the waiter could talk to you maybe, and then that picks it up a notch. It's a little better of experience. Or then the waiter's a little bit nice, and then you have the most amazing waiter in the world. Now your experience is top notch. So that's really the four levels of you doing a mitzvah. Now, animals, we said, are instinctive, have an instinct in their nature and their passion. And when a human being could ride with that enough passion with his natural. Why do we call it animal? Because the animal goes by nature. So a human could also operate in that level, in the level of nature. Now, you could also operate higher, become intellectual, create emotional stimulus, passion intellectually, and now you take it to a whole another human level of the mitzvahs. Now, which level is angels? We explained very interesting yesterday. Angels are instinctive. Angels are like animals, because they operate in a world of the world which we call Yitzira. Yitzira is the world of emotion. Everything's emotion there. They were created in that world, and they operate in that world, and that's what they are. They're just emotional beings, which is a natural, instinctive, emotional being. And that's what they operate from. The human being is intellectual. So he can actually raise higher. I asked yesterday, what's higher, the service of a tzaddik or the service of an angel? Everybody said the service of a tzaddik. I said, why? I got a few reasons, and then I shared my own reason. I shared the reason in Tanya. I'm sorry, the reason that Tanya says that human beings are higher than angels because human beings are intellectual. They create a stimulus intellectually, while angels have a very strong passion, but it's all natural, and therefore it never can raise to the level of the human being. Very interesting idea. Today, I want to answer that there's another reason why, and that was the reason that was shared yesterday. You're actually correct. Those who shared this reason yesterday, they were actually 100% correct. I believe a few of you shared their reason yesterday. And what was shared yesterday? We said yesterday that the uniqueness of human beings over angels has another unique idea to them, and that is that human beings have to fight their nature to even if they're operating within the love and fear in their nature, they're still fighting another part of their nature which doesn't want to do it. So they have to be disciplined, even though you know it's right within your nature. You know it's right to be disciplined in order to be successful in life, to be a Jew. At the same time, you also have to fight other instincts which are telling you not to do it. So an angel doesn't have anything fighting him. He's just one-track minded. So even if you are not a tzaddik, you never got to the emotional love and fear, passion to Hashem, intellectual passion to Hashem, but you're operating out of emotion, out of your natural emotions. You're also kind of operating in the animalistic wavelength because you're operating out of nature, but you still are fighting off your other half of nature, which is not to want to do the mitzvahs. So therefore, you're automatically higher than an angel, because an angel doesn't have anything operating against him. He just is one track in that natural instinct to love and fear Hashem. But the human being, it has to operate in that level, which he has to overcome the challenge in order to be successful to serve Hashem in life. And therefore, that's reason number two, why a human being's service to Hashem is greater than an angel, because he's overcoming the drive that's against him succeeding and against him doing what's right, and he overcomes that drive. So what do I want to say with that? That's why, because of that, even if you're not a tzaddik, so a regular tzaddik who serves Hashem intellectually will climb up to the world of Bria, there's four worlds, the second to highest world, not the top world, but the one under that, which is called Bria. Because you're intellectual, and that's a world of intellect, you will merit to climb to that world of Yitzira, because you're serving Hashem with intellect. However, even if you're kind of Jew that serves Hashem with emotion, even if you're that kind of Jew which serves Hashem out of passion, natural passion, not intellectual passion, so you're going to say you're similar to the angel, we will still give you a break, and we will allow you to climb. Instead of staying in the world of Yitzira, where the angels are, you will, on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, there'll be a number of times of a year which will allow you to go up to the higher world of tzaddikim, which is an intellectual world, even though the kind of Jew you are is serving Hashem with passion. Why? Because you really are more special than the angels. You're not just serving Hashem out of natural instinct, because you also have to fight off your negative instinct in order to succeed. So once in a while, we'll let you climb up to the world of intellectual world. I mean, to understand this better, we have to be in yesterday's class, but hopefully people are understanding the idea, at least in short, going over yesterday's class. I want to add today another Kabbalistic idea, which I want to go into. So in these four worlds, okay, there is the vessels part of the world, and there is the energy, the light that's coming into the vessels. Let's just talk about it. So let's say a cup. A cup has, I have here in my hand a cup, my coffee was inside here. And in the cup, I could put coffee, I could put Coca-Cola, I could put water, right? I have coffee inside my cup. I could fill it up with various different things. Now, let's say it's water. The water really has very little shape. The water is more pure. Water has no color. Water has no shape. It could turn into any shape. You could freeze it in any shape. It could move into many different. It can move through many different kind of holes. Water really is more or less out of other things that have a strong shape. It's shapeless. This cup has a very defined shape. There's certain pictures on it. There's a certain size. How many? Whatever. Let's say it's 12 ounces. I don't know, 14 ounces. It has a lid. It has very distinctive shape. It's made out of certain material. The cup has a very distinctive shape. Now, what the cup is doing, it's making the water in it form to its shape. So the cup is causing the liquid that's inside it to now take on a shape because it's forcing that liquid to be in a shape. So the liquid is much more removed from, it's not as physical defined as the cup is. The cup is very defined, and the cup is causing the liquid inside it to be defined. We could say the same thing with light, right? Light could be from the sun. Let's say has a more of a pure color. But if I put up a window that's red and the light is shining through my red window, the sun looks red now. So the light that's more pure will take on a certain color. Depending what colors I want to put up, I could channel that more pure energy, that more pure item, and create different. I could make it sharp or whatever. I could maybe make a fire out of it. If I take a magnifying glass, I could play with it. I could do different things with it depending on the vessels that are being used to change the original pure item. Okay, you with me, Gregory? You with me? I only see your face here, so I'm looking at you. Good. So that's the vessels affect the light. Okay. So that's the same thing that happens in these worlds. The four worlds. What happened is the four worlds, Atzilus, Bria, Tzir, and Asir, the four worlds in Kabbalah that we always talk about, are vessels with very unique features. And we explained the top world, Atzilus, it's almost not noticeable, the features of the vessels, because it's so close to the infinite, you almost don't see its features at all. But then as you move down to the next world, the world of Bria, it's an intellectual world. It's a very specifically intellectual world, and it has very unique features. As you move down to the third world, it's called Bria. That is the world of emotion. That's where the emotional angels come from, because it's very unique features, very unique vessels of emotion. And then you have the world of Asiya, which is the actual physical world, the kingdom that we know it, the physical, actual, very materialistic world that we know it. Okay, so you have four worlds with vessels. But then what happens is the infinite energy of Hashem, the light of God, imagine like the liquid going into the cup or the light shining through the colored glass, comes down into those worlds. So the infinite energy of Hashem, which has no shape or form, no vessels, will go and dress itself inside the world of Atzilus, with the first world, which almost has no shape because it's going straight, it's touching the infinite, it almost has no form. But then the light travels. Imagine it going through one cup and then another cup and then another cup, right? So then the light continues to travel then into the world of intellect, into the world of Bria, and starts, it's like the cup holding the water. So if you looked at the water, you would think the water has that shape. The water looks like, because the cup is forcing the light that's really pure to have some kind of a form and some kind of a shape. So the shape of that world is emotion, and that shape, intellect, and the second world is intellect, that will force the light to then take on its characteristics, kind of. And then it'll travel to the next world, the world of emotion, and the light will go, and the infinite light of Hashem will then go into there. It'll take on the features of emotion, right? It's like the water traveling into the next item. It keeps on getting, maybe you'll take water and then you'll add some color to it and you'll add some shape and then you'll freeze it, whatever, you'll make it thick, you'll make it gel, whatever it is, you'll keep on adding features to it until it comes to our physical world. The light comes into the lowest world, our physical world. So in each world, we really have two elements to it. We have the vessels side of it and the light side of it. It's called Kalim, Or, and Kalim. So there's the vessels part of it. So it's like a cup. I have the cup and I have the liquid that's inside the cup. The liquid is the same shape as my cup now because the cup is making the liquid be in that shape. But the liquid could go out and then remove its shape too. So the energy of Hashem is traveling inside these worlds. So what we want to say here is, when I say angels are in the world of Bria, are in the world of Yetzirah, or in the third world, or I say tzaddikim, souls of tzaddikim are in the world of Yetzirah, what does that mean? Is that referring to here's the punchline, is it referring to the vessels of that world, or is it referring to the light of that world? What is it? Which one is it? So when I say that the souls of tzaddikim are in the intellectual world of Bria, and the souls of the angels are in the emotional world of Yetzirah, in the third world, I mean they come from the vessels part of it, because they really are that unique character of that world is what the soul or the angel is. So the angel comes from the world of Yetzirah. They're coming from the vessels of Yetzirah. They are really that. Those characteristics are very strong in their identity of who they are. Those are the vessels. They're coming from the vessels part of it, not from the light part of it, from the vessels part of it. And the soul of the tzaddik, that's very intellectual, comes from the vessels of the world of Yetzirah, of the world of intellect. So that's distinctly who they are. The clearly defined characteristics of the vessels of the world are who they are. However, when you do a mitzvah, and you learn Torah, and you raise yourself up connecting to Hashem intellectually or emotionally, that's not referring to the vessels of that world. That's referring to the light of that world. So when you get in touch with intellectual, and you use your intellect, your soul of intellect, which comes from the vessels of Bria, the intellectual world, you learn it, you're taking the infinite energy of Hashem that's dressing up in the vessels, intellect, and understanding Hashem at that level, and you're actually getting in touch with the light of the world of Bria, not the vessels of the world of Bria. So you are made up of the character of Bria, which is why you're able to intellectualize godliness. But what you're doing, what you're bringing on yourself is connecting with the light of that world and not the vessels. So you're actually reaching a level kind of higher than yourself. So you are from the vessels of Bria. That's why you're able to understand Torah in that level, but you're actually getting a little higher. You're getting to the light, the liquid in the cup, which is higher than the actual vessels. You're getting in touch with the liquid. You're being raised to you're going to your world, but you're being raised to a much higher energy than the world where you come from through that. That is the Kabbalistic idea behind today's class. We're going to end saying then, what happens is that when you learn Torah in this world, after 120, and you're going to pass away, all that light of Torah that you connected with intellectually is what you're going to experience in the afterlife. So the afterlife experience is an actual outcome of your investment in this world. It's not just like, I guess, you invested something and it grew, like you invest in the stock market or so, and you're actually touching that money. You're actually getting in touch with that investment with the Torah. You just don't see it in this world because we're in a very physical world, but you are creating a tremendous light in that world, wherever it is. And after 120, which the facade will come off, you will be a soul not in a body anymore. You'll experience all the light that you brought in that level, in that world. So if you're emotional mitzvahs, you'll get to the level of Yetzirah. If you're intellectual, which means you get into you raise emotion through intellect, which is human, which is a much higher level, then you will feel that experience, that light in a much higher level after when you go to Gan Eden in 120. So right now, I think Tanya is hopefully teaching us a little bit about the world of Yetzirah. So we're using our intellect. We're a little bit tzaddik, maybe not full tzaddikim, but we're using our intellect to create passion and drive for Hashem. And when we use that to daven, we're reaching a very high level. And when after 120, when we pass away, all the Torah we learned, all the light from that world will then shine on our soul and will benefit, enjoy the radiance from that. Let's learn this inside. I taught a lot of ideas here. Yes, Gregory.
I have one question. I just want to get this straight. So when we're in the physical world, the world of Azula, right? Azula, we are able to tap into the light part of Bria or the emotional world, right? Is that what you're saying? Even
our
though
soul comes from those levels. We're in our Asiya, we're in the physical world now, but we're bringing, which is covering godliness. And our whole purpose is to show how reveal Hashem in our very physical, materialistic, and connect with these different levels within our world. So the more, if you want to be like the waiter who just serves the food, then you're bringing godliness into the level of Asiya, very physical. But once you start bringing passion and kavana and into your and drive, emotional drive into your mitzvah, then you start revealing the worlds of Bria and Yetzirah, those two higher worlds, into the mitzvah that you're doing, depending on
Into
your
the
level.
physical world. So you're
We
pretty
can't
much
correct, but you
bringing
can't
down
see it.
the light.
Well, you're right. You're right. Right now, it looks. You see that guy. You look at the waiter, so happy to be able to do his job. You see that he's happy to do his job. You feel a much better experience. You see a Jew who's passionate about his davening and learning. You see Hashem much more revealed, but you don't see the actual energy of that level in this world. But after you pass away, you will actually see that energy, tremendously high energy, after you pass away, that you brought into this world. That will be part of your soul. You've accomplished that, and that will be with you after 120.
So how does that work where, the point of even creation is to elevate this lowest world into the highest world, right?
What do you mean? How does that work?
So like when Mashiach comes, or the end.
Well, we're changing the world now. We're changing
Right.
the world every time we
So
do. a
like,
mitzvah,
are we
especially with passion.
revealing this light into the open? That's what I'm
Yes,
saying. Like,
yes. We just don't have the glasses to fully see it. We do see
Right.
it. Look at a Jew who's passionate about his mitzvahs, and you see God. I mean, so just the fact that people are getting up and coming to shul in the morning is revealing Hashem in this world. Because look, why is the guy getting up? Because he believes that God's creator. It's revealing to when I come to shul, everybody knows Hashem runs the world, because I'm revealing that God's in charge. I'm telling everybody. If I'm passionate about it, I'm even more revealing that Hashem's in charge. Do you actually see the light, how it is in the world of Bria Yetzirah? No, because you don't have the eyes, the glasses to see it. But after 120, all what you did will be, and when Mashiach comes, that'll all be revealed, and they'll see the light shining, the actual light shining from those worlds in this world. Correct.
okay.
I think that's the idea. Let's see inside. Let's go. We're learning inside. Okay, and we were actually learning a few days ago's Tanya. We're holding a middle of Sunday's Tanya, and hopefully I was able to explain. It'll go smooth now because I explained most of the ideas with Hashem's help and somewhat clearly. So we're actually holding Sunday and Monday. We're going to do half of Sundays and Mondays. I know today is Thursday, but hopefully on Friday I'll catch us up even more. It's good the Chumash is short now, so we can jump in from Tanya, from what we're missing in Tanya. Okay. All right. Here we go. So we're in the middle of Sunday's Tanya. We were talking about what about a Jew that's not on the level of tzaddik, that doesn't serve Hashem intellectually, it serves Hashem emotionally. And we said that sometimes he'll catch a break, and on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, they will get to merit to go up to the higher Gan Eden, to go up to the world of Bria. Okay, here we're going to go. This is people that get in touch with the level of their soul, which rises up to the world of Bria, which is intellectual, passionate to Hashem, that they've created on their own. Which is a level of Moich and the Gadlus, which is superior intellect. They've reached that very high level. But what about the lower level righteous tzaddikim who serve Hashem with the lower level? They operate with the lower level of their soul, not the neshama level, the ruach level. And what about not just those tzaddikim? What about every other Jew? That they serve God with love and fear, but the natural one, the animalistic one, the instinctive one, they're operating out of their natural instinctive love and fear of Hashem that they have emotionally. They do not climb up to the world of Bria, to the intellectual world. Only on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh do they have the opportunity to climb up, because they use something called the Amud. It's like an elevator by means of the pillar. From the lower Garden of Eden to the higher Garden of Eden. There's some kind of like a elevator. I think like in the bank, you shoot your deposit, whatever, to the teller. So they have some kind of an elevator like that, some kind of a pole. And they are allowed the souls that even serve Hashem from instinctive, natural emotion. They get shot up on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. I guess in the soul and afterlife, we'll get even the greater pleasure. The souls go up. I think that's why I say it's special. If someone passes away on Shabbos, they go shoot straight up to the higher Gan Eden. It's a special thing. So even the souls that their whole life served Hashem with their instinct, they never developed an intellectual passion. They just served Hashem out of instinct, which is the regular tzaddik, not the higher tzaddik and every other Jew. Serving Hashem with their inborn love for Hashem, they are shot up with the elevator on Shabbos, getting to benefit the higher Gan Eden, from the intellectual passion and pleasure of the soul. Why? Why is that? Why did they get that? They served Hashem out of instinct and nature. They never served Hashem never got to the higher level of intellect. I'm sorry, he's not explaining why yet. He's explaining that they don't get it because it's the higher world is for people that went, invested, and got to the level of intellectual. They changed themselves. They developed that love and fear, and that's where they're going to benefit. Right? When you invest, that's what you reap. So they're benefiting their investment. That's the infinite energy of Hashem that they raised to the level. So how come they do get to go up on Shabbos and Yom some Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh? Why do they, remember, why do they get to go to the higher world, which angels don't get to go up to there? They serve Hashem the same way angels do. They serve Hashem out of their nature. They serve Hashem out of their instinct. Why do they get to go up on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh? The reason is because when they served Hashem instinctive, they were still one up over the angels. They had to overcome the impulse to do bad things. So they are one up of the angels, even though you're saying they operated from natural tendencies like the angels. They still were. They had a much bigger, harder job than the angels because they also had to overcome another nature and instinct that was fighting against it. So you're right; they're using the love and fear of Hashem that's instinctive in nature, but they're not just using it. The angels just have a free trip. They just go. They're one-track minded. He was confused. He had to fight it, and therefore they're going to allow him to go up one step higher than the angels, at least some of the time. Could be he had to fight against not doing bad things. He was driven, he had addicted to all kinds of things in this world, and he had to stop not to do it. He was much greater than the angel. To break his lust, he could be a person that his whole life had tremendous lust and temptation, and he fought it. Or whether he was lazy, he was tired, he went and he got up for Shacharis in the morning. The angels don't have to do that stuff. And the person in this world has free choice. They could have totally chosen to do terrible, negative things. And they chose good. To break the evil condition. And what happens when we break ourselves and we do good? The light of Hashem that you brought into this world is much greater than any light that an angel could bring into this world. Like we already explained. The benefit of doing something good in this world, the angels are not nearly as successful as human beings that are bringing godliness into this very negative, challenging world. So therefore, they're one up, and that's why they will benefit to go climb higher than the angels, at least sometimes, at least in Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. Now, this whole discussion that we're talking about angels in the third world, the world of Yetzirah, emotional world, and tzaddikim in the world of Bria, is talking about where they raise up on Rosh Chodesh and so on. This is all the levels where they're created from. This is all a conversation about where do you come from? The vessels, the world of Bria and Yetzirah. So a tzaddik soul comes, very high tzaddik soul comes from the world of Bria. His soul comes from the vessels of the second world, the intellectual world, and the angel comes from the vessels of the emotional world, the world of Yetzirah. However, when you study Torah, that's not what we're talking about. When you study Torah, Hashem's Torah, you're connecting to the energy, the light not the vessels, but the light in the vessels, which is much more pure, which is much higher, which comes from the infinite energy of Hashem. They're still felt like godliness. They're coming from infinite. They're just infinite being shaped by the vessels. They're just the water being shaped by the cup, but it's actually much higher than the cup itself. It's much more pure. It's much lessly defined. It's much more connected to the infinite. They're just being, Hashem allowed the vessels to shape it, but they're actually much higher. So when you study Torah and do mitzvahs, you're not just are you raised to the level where your soul comes from in the vessels, but you actually study Torah, you get raised up to the energy the light that's in the vessel. So when you intellectualize Torah, you're connecting to the energy, the light that's in the 10 energies in the world of Bria. So basically there's 10 vessels in each world, the general vessels, and we're connecting to the spheres to Bria, the light in that world. Because when you learn Torah, you're using your intellect and you're having love and fear of Hashem intellectually. So your brain might come from the vessels even lower. The fact is, when you study Torah, you're reaching that. You're studying something from a very high level. You're studying from Torah, which comes from the infinite energy of God, which is the light of those worlds. And the same thing is with the emotions. Like through your natural love and fear, which maybe comes from the vessels of the world of Yitzhira, the third world, but when you actually have love and fear of Hashem, you're getting in touch with the light of that world, not just the vessels. So the light, in other words, once you get to the light of the world of emotion originates from the light of the world of intellect. And the light of the world of intellect comes from the highest world, the world of Atzilus, which is almost no definition there, which comes from the infinite energy of Hashem. So it's just like the light that's going through like different color glasses. So first it travels through one kind of glass, then another kind of glass, then another kind of glass. It still originates from the original light, and therefore it's very much connected to Hashem. Each one light, you have to go back. Where does this light come from? Where does that? I guess like same with electricity. Electricity travels from very far. So you might be plugging in your phone, but that came from your street, which has a higher level of electricity, which comes back from a higher level of electricity. The fact is, it comes from somewhere else. So you do have a lot of transformers then changing it and affecting it, but it originally comes from the source of the energy. The sunlight originally comes from the sun, and the energy that's in the vessels comes from Hashem, from the infinite level of Hashem. So when you get to the highest world, it's totally connected in one infinite energy of Hashem. And that's the Torah you're learning. So that is when you study Torah, you connect with Hashem in a very profound infinite energy of God action. However, the souls themselves being created doesn't come from the light in the vessels. They are part and parcel of the vessels of that world. And they benefit from the tremendous light. So you're actually helping yourself. So if your soul comes from the vessels of the world of Yitzhira, when you study Torah, you're having a totally one up. Even though it's the same world, but you're connecting to the light of that world, which is much greater. Which becomes totally one with the 10 spheres of that world, with the 10 energies, the light of that world. And he says, he just ends, we're going to end with this point, that is the merit. What do you get in Garden of Eden? What are you getting in Garden of Eden? He says, that's exactly what you're getting. You're getting the infinite energy of Hashem. In other words, you're doing the mitzvah here. You just don't see the tremendous, unbelievable energy behind it. But after you pass away, all of a sudden your body comes off, the shells come off, and you see that energy. So what benefit are you going to have in after 120 is that you're going to see the value of what you did in this world. So that's what we say, what is the reward of a mitzvah? It's the mitzvah itself. Not that you're doing a mitzvah and then God will give you a gift. Okay, here, let me give you $1,000. Let me give you $1 million because you did a mitzvah. No. The $1 million is the mitzvah. The reward of a mitzvah is that you're going to be able to see the energy of everything you've done in this physical world. I hope that makes sense. And that is the end of the Tanya we're learning today. Any questions or comments on today's Tanya? Did anybody get it? You with me, guys?
Question.
Yes.
So what it's saying is that humans have the ability to connect to these lights in these different worlds, higher worlds than our world. So we have the capacity. God created us with, even though we're in the vessel of this lowest world.
We are bringing the light in this world now. It's here. It's now. We only see the physical part of it. So you see a Jew sitting and davening for 3 hours, all passionate about it. You see Hashem in this world. You see he's God runs the world and he's connecting to Hashem. You see it, but you don't see that your Hashem made it. Otherwise you would explode now in this physical body. You can't see the dimension of really what's happening. And then when we die or when Mashiach comes, just remove the husk and all of a sudden the tremendous energy is there. And that's what we benefit from.
Yeah, like like you said, you can't see it with our eyes, but you could kind of see it and feel it. Like, for example, with the Rebbe, he was able to influence so many people and to.
But I want to tell you something. When I went by the Rebbe, you felt it. Like you
even going to the cemetery, to the Ohel.
To the Ohel, yeah. You feel the energy. It's so strong there that you. Even when you see somebody holding, it just rubs off on you. You like stand next to someone who's very connected. You feel there's something special there. Yeah.
So we could actually, we are able to kind of feel something different without.
But I'm saying relative to what we see after we pass, we see a small. I would say we see a small percentage. We just see a drop of it.
So my question is: are angels So humans are the only ones that are able to like connect to the higher lights in different worlds. Angels
So
aren't
there
able
are
to.
some angels. We did learn in a note yesterday. He said that there are some angels that do also. There are some higher level angels which are in that world of Bria. There are some angels.
And they could transcend themselves into a higher, I guess, light.
They're made
Into a
from the
higher.
vessels of the world of Bria, I guess, the world of intellect. They're made
Okay.
from those vessels.
So who's in the highest world?
Atzilus, nothing, because it's not. There's no shape or form in that world. It's so connected. It's so close to the infinite that there's no vessels there. There's no form or shape. It's
There's
not
no
defined.
individual. There's no individual. It's all one.
Kind of the bridge between infinite and then the world of Bria, which is intellect. It's Chachma. All it feels is that its whole existence is. It isn't existence. What's its existence? That it's nothing. It knows that it's nothing. It knows that Hashem is the only real thing in the world. What we say when we say Shema, it lives. When we say Shema, we say Hashem, you're the really only energy. We think that, but it's living that. That's the level that it is.
So all the light goes through each world through the 10th spirit and
Correct.
lowers
Exactly.
it into our world.
Correct. Just like our body. And our bodies created in that same way. Intellect, there's an idea there, then you internalize it intellectually, then you get emotions to it until you act on it, then you do it. Right. I think that's the idea.
Powerful.
All right. Anyone else here?